Hello and welcome back to another episode of Music Nuggets. Today is the first in a series called 101 Uses for a Minor 7 Arpeggio. Whether I can find 101 uses for a minor 7 arpeggio remains to be seen, but I'm going to attempt it. Every week I will bring you at least one pretty standard use of a minor 7 arpeggio and one weirder use for a minor 7 arpeggio. So today I have three uses because the first one is I want to just introduce it. If you're not familiar with it, then it is just the notes of a minor 7 chord rearranged to form an arpeggio that moves in sequence. So a minor 7 chord, we're looking at A minor 7 here. You can see in purple we have the chord shape for A minor 7 up on the 12th fret. And that's one of those drop 2 voicings. So it's going root, 5th, flat 7, minor 3rd, and 5th. And you could pretty much get the arpeggio out of that just by doing octaves. So if you took, say, the 3rd up the top and you filled in that 3rd down the bottom, then you've got root, 3rd, 5th, 7, octave, then 3rd, 5th, and 7th. I should specify that the 3rd and the 7th are minor 3rd and flat 7 because that's what's in that chord. And it's only really one note away from a pentatonic scale, so it's something that we pretty much know already as guitar players, and we will know a pentatonic shape for this, or most of us will. So if you were to take that root, 3rd, 5th, 7 root and put a 4th in there, we have a minor pentatonic scale. Root, minor 3rd, 4th, 5th, flat 7, and root again. So you can mix this freely with pentatonic stuff, and I did when I was improvising there. I'm going to show you what I was doing there at the end of this video because that's the sort of weirder use for it. But basically, you can mix it with stuff you already know, including putting the blues note in and stuff like that. So you could, even if you wanted to avoid the 4th that's normally in a pentatonic scale, this sounds great if you just stick a blues note in there too. So blues note being there, flat 5th, and flat 5th here. So you could do things like you notice when I come back down there, I still play the flat 5th to the 5th up the way, because that's what you expect from a blues lilt, really. If you go down the way, then you're risking settling on a flat 5th, which can be a bit nasty at times. Sometimes you might want nasty. But yeah, basically this position here rolls really nicely off the fingers. So it's why I've made it the main one to focus on. It's kind of just there. And if we move it like further down the neck, it really does roll nicely. It's a really useful little tool, especially for little flourishes that you want here and there where you want things to sound fast and a bit noodly. If that's not your thing, then mix it with blues notes and try and be expressive with it in different ways. So that's it over just an A minor chord. I'll put an A minor 7 down, and you can hear how it really just hits all the chord tones. So I'll put the A minor down here so that we've got a bit of contrast. So and of course that exists in other places. So that leads us on to that. You could consider that to be a 5th string root version of that shape. Here is 6th string root version of that. So ignore the purple for now. So the A minor 7 arpeggio is all the black dots. So we're looking at this sound. And again, that's going to give you the same effect, just in a different register. So you can hear, as a guitar player, I'm unconsciously mixing that with the odd fourth here and there because that pentatonic thing is so ingrained. But there's different positions of that all over the place. I've just chosen these two to demonstrate with. Your different positions. If you know your different positions of pentatonic, then it actually makes it really easy to find these, because the next position up from that would be like the sort of major pentatonic, or second shape of the pentatonic, with what's missing. There would be second missing. So normally the fourth here, that's the one that you want to take away. You'll see there's no black dot there. So that lives here too. So it's like you're playing a major pentatonic with the second gone. The fourth from the minor pentatonic is the second in the major pentatonic. So that pops out like that pops out like that. And that one's really useful for mixing with the blues note, because it'll do interesting things over a major chord. But that's for another video. So, yeah, find those in different places. The more places you can, the better. The next thing I want to look at is kind of like a modern jazz thing. So you can get nice sort of suspended sounding modern jazz sounds if you play this A minor 7 arpeggio over a D minor chord. And what happens there, I've mapped this up. An image of this will be down in the comments below, so download this and use it as you will. But basically, different things happen against different chords. So what was an interval in A minor becomes a different interval in D minor. So the root of A minor 7 arpeggio is the 5th of D minor. So the purple notes here are a D minor chord. And the root of that A minor is the low 5th of the D minor. And this root is the 5th of the chord above the root. So the root of that leans into the 5th of the D minor. The 3rd of the A minor 7 is the 7th of the D minor. So it's perfect for implying D minor 7. And then the 5th of the A minor 7, this is where it gets interesting and like suspended sounding. The 5th of the A minor 7 is the 9th of the D minor. So here is the root minor 3rd 5th of the A minor 7. So it's like you've got a D minor, and if you play it down in that register, it's like the 2nd against the chord, not the 9th. But if you play it up the top, then you're getting this kind of suspended sound. So that 5th of the A minor also lives here. So you can see that's a semitone away from the minor third of the D minor. So you've got like... So that's like, you can hear that kind of Miles Davis kind of blue, suspended, cool jazz tonal thing happening. And also the flat seventh of the A minor is the fourth of the D minor. So you're never actually hitting the third of the D minor chord, which makes it feel suspended. So you've got... So it's an interesting sound, and it does imply that cool jazz era kind of sound, modern jazz. And that's like, there's a famous story with Miles Davis where he's playing with Herbie Hancock and he supposedly leans over and he's not pleased with his soloing and he says, "I can't get anything to work tonight." And Herbie says, "Don't play the butter notes." So the butter notes being the chord tones, and he's meaning like play the ninths, play the fourths, play the 13ths, all that kind of stuff. So that's what that is, like suspended tonality. An even more sort of modern take on it still, I guess, is this third use that I've got down here. So over a 2-5-1, if you play the A minor 7 arpeggio over a D minor 7, so a 2-5-1 in C major, I should say. So over the D minor or a D minor 9, play that A minor 7 arpeggio. And then over the G7, preferably altered because of how this superimposes, play the same arpeggio a semitone up. So play a B flat pentatonic scale, or a B flat minor 7 arpeggio, I should say. So over... You can hear that somehow that goes, and it's because, again, of how the intervals become something else against this chord, especially if you use a flat 5 substitution for the 5 chord. So what do I mean by that? Let's take a look at the chord progression in its most basic form. So say you've got a D minor 7, so it's a 2-5-1 in C major. So a D minor 7 is the 2 chord, a G7 is the 5 chord, and a C major 7 would be the 1 chord. Now it helps to get like better voice movement going on anyway with this. But if we change, so a flat 5 substitution, first of all, if we alter the G7 chord so that we add more tension, so we'll add, say, a sharp 5 and a flat 9. So like G, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a sharp 5. There it is up an octave, so let's put it in our G7. And then a flat 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a flat 9. There's a flat 9. Let's put it up an octave. Put it into the chord. So these are just common tones that you can add, extensions that you can add to create more tension on a 7 chord, on a dominant chord. But then even cooler than that is you can do what you call a flat 5 substitution. So a flat 5 substitution is just when you take the root of the chord and you place that root a flat 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flat 5. So now that root goes to there. And then let's find like a more sensible voice movement down to some kind of C major material. It makes sense to go down to a C6-9 or something like that, so that you've got all the voices moving sensibly down the way. So I'll play, say, what works nicely is like a D minor 9. So that's root, minor 3rd, flat 7, 9th. Then our flat 5 substitution of a G7 altered. And then a C6, 9. So that's root, 3rd, 6, 9. And it just means that all the voices are moving sensibly down the way you've got in the root. It goes, and in this voice it goes, and in this voice it goes, and in this voice it goes. So it's all falling. Good voice movement, good voice leading. And it sounds a million miles away from. So that's why I would do that. But there's a good reason for it here too, because the B flat minor 7, the root of that is the sharp 9 of the G7 altered. Now that's not actually in this chord, but that's just like going. That's the sharp 9 there. And it's the bluesy note in this context because it's a minor 3rd, technically kind of against the major dominant chord. Then the minor 3rd of a B flat minor 7 arpeggio, so like, is the root of this new substitution. The 5th of it is the flat 7 of the original G7, but it's also the 3rd of this flat 5 substitution. And the 7th, let's see, yeah, the 7th of the B flat 7 arpeggio is the, let's see, flat 9 of the original G7. So it's this note up here. You can hear that. So this note is actually a 6. So the root of that arpeggio is the strangest one. I'm confusing matters here because now I'm thinking of this as being the root. But against the G7, the root of the B flat minor 7 is a sharp 9. The minor 3rd is a flat 5, which is where we've put the root in our sub. The 5th of it is a flat 7, so it's perfect for dominant stuff. And the flat 7 of is the flat 9 of that chord. So it's basically hitting all those tension notes, those good tension notes that we're creating before we have resolve. So it's like the most tension in a sense that you can have, or just about the most tension that you can have before it resolves to any C major note, or any C major chord tone is a better way to put that. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll put that on the looper, and then I'll just play A minor 7 arpeggio, move up a semitone, so you've got B flat minor 7 arpeggio, and then you're hitting anything juicy from C major, basically, from C major 7. Okay, so. Obvious, so play that one up on the 12th, just slide up a semitone and into some sort of C material. So yeah, you can see how that works basically. And And it's like a really cool sound. It's a sound that you really associate with jazz, and it's such an easy trick. I learned and played a lot of jazz long before I learned about this trick. And the day I found out about it, I was like, that's how those guys do that thing. Um, Obviously, you've got to watch how you phrase things. There was a few like dodgy ones in there. But if you practice it enough, shed it over some jazz tunes, and it sounds awesome. So yeah, three uses, one really straightforward use, one sort of moderately stranger sounding use, I guess, but still really sweet sounding, and then one quite sort of outside use for it. Let's see how many of these 101 I can actually conjure up before this series ends. So I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, then hit the like button. If you've not subscribed already, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.